Do not think the Elder Ones hold sway in this reality alone. Across the multitude of infinities span realms quite familiar, with all the same nations and peoples who speak all your human languages and dream the same nightmares. The Elder Ones exist across them all. In one such reality, it is a familiar year in a familiar nation, the so-called Great Depression and the ruin it brought to America. An apt time and place to sow discord and division in what would otherwise become a bastion of human civilization. If there is one thing you can count on with mankind, it's selfishness. Greed is universal, and the Elder Ones have ever used it as a means to turn brother against brother, friend into foe. Offer a man a stepping stool to rise above the rabble, and he'll ignore that to balance atop his neighbor's throat. And the eastern half of that vast continent is the perfect place to foment a second revolution on such dark providence. This realm is a place of shifting loyalties and dark deeds, for corruption to fell powers is an ever-present danger in the nation's most influential cities in this era. Your comrade who has your back may take the opportunity to plant a dagger in it. All is not lost, however. If mankind was without power, the Elder Ones would have no need to lurk unseen. No, they're all too aware of the threat that a united humanity represents, and they need no reminders that even death may die. Today on the podcast,
Cthulhu Dark Providence.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 18, Episode 8. Tonight on the podcast, we deep dive into Cthulhu Dark Providence from CMON Games. This is your board boy, Cthulhu Rob.
This is your boy, Floundering TK.
This is your boy, Nameless Jake.
And guest boy, Dave. Hi-oh.
Hey, we've got Dave here, filling the cam chair.
He kind of looks like Cam, too. You know?
He's got the beard.
He's got a beard.
Bald.
Yeah, balding. Yeah.
No
Wears
glasses and heart
shirts.
pills.
Yeah.
That's true. Do you take heart medication?
Not yet.
Has a
Okay.
phone. Yeah. Wears a watch.
Where's it?
You know, Cam things.
Well, thanks for joining us today, Dave.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Much appreciated. Dave, in a little bit, will be talking to us about Capital City Gaming Con.
Mm-hmm.
He's here to represent our local Des Moines convention and try to get y'all to come out and check it out,
Mm-hmm.
right? You know, when I was reading the back of the box for this one, actually, it was the inside of the rule book.
Cam would have said that needed an editor's pen.
Yeah, probably.
Needed something.
But I feel like I should have done it more like in an Edward R. Murrow voice.
Good night and good luck.
Yeah, a lot of it was kind of like, here's the news bulletin of how crappy your world is right now.
Are they all like that? Like they all have that vibe? All the Cthulhu games?
I mean, if you had giant elder beings like that could just come over and squash you and make you go insane, wouldn't you be kind of a downer?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be on the news. You know? Like,
I mean, I think
screw this.
Cthulhu,
I would do something else.
This is in the Cthulhu Death May Die universe, right?
Is that also the same universe of the whatever Cthulhu game that I played that has the giant miniature
Yes.
that you
Yes.
jump? Okay.
that game is Cthulhu Death May Die.
All right.
And it's like CMON's take on H.P. Lovecraft's mythos. Whereas you have the Fantasy Flight mythos that's like the Arkham universe. So you got Arkham Horror, Eldritch Horror. Like they've made Elder Sign. They've made like tons and tons of games and like they write novels and stuff in that universe as well. And then the original game to this, so Cthulhu Dark Providence is a remake of,
Study in Emerald.
thank you, A Study in Emerald, which is a Neil Gaiman short story that I've never read. And that one is like Cthulhu monsters in Sherlock Holmes time, basically. So you got like Sherlock Holmes running around being an investigator, trying to fight off cultists. And it's like, it's kind of like in this world, Cthulhu, like the elder beings rule the world. In the original game, it's like they ruled the world and you're trying to like usurp them. Like the cultists are trying to keep these people in power. And like, I think like there's like a Shoggoth for like the Queen of England and all that jazz. All right. Well, why don't we talk about some games we've been playing? Tim, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so Rob and I got to play Flip Voyage a couple weeks ago. This is a successor to Flip Town. I just got it in a Kickstarter. It is by Stephen Armini and artist is Nomi Farrell, and it's Right Stuff Games. It is a flip and write, I guess you would say, in which you flip 3 of a standard deck of cards, and then you're going to take, in this one, so in Flip Town, you take one action basically on your turn. In this one, you're going to drive your boat with one of the cards, and then use the other 2 Flip Town style, where you use the suit for one and the number for the power of that action. So the suit for one action and then the power. So you're going to drive your boat. Once you drive your boat, you get a bunch of, I don't know, in all roll and write kind of fashion, you just get a bunch of bonuses and extra stuff. And then the 4 suits are basically, you're blowing up other ships, you are landing on an island and liberating them, I actually can't even remember what the other 2 are. You're filling up beakers and doing experiments, and then you're diving down into the ocean to get treasures. So on the turn, you'll move your boat, then you're going to pick your 2 cards, you're going to do your action, which you will then combo into a bunch of other actions, and then to kind of finish up your turn, you can decide to either repair your ship or do an upgrade. So in Flip Town, upgrade was one of the actions. So this one has 4 kind of main actions, and then at the end of your turn, you can just upgrade, which tends to lead to very, very combo-y actions. And so you kind of go through that, and you are essentially, I don't know, it's not really racing, but you're trying to cross 2 markers, Rajas Gandhi style, between how much you move your boat and how much you score. And then you'll add up your score at the end of the game, and it'll give it to you. I don't know. It was
Also Arc Nova style.
Arc Nova style, yeah. I mean, Arc Nova, you actually score the points in between.
Sure.
I mean, Rajas Gandhi, you score the points in between? Or is it just how the game ends?
It's how much you passed your marker.
Okay, yeah. So this is not that. This is just when the game ends. So,
oh,
but,
that's true.
Yeah, it's very, very combo-womby. There was a lot to it with that, and I definitely like the technology not being in action anymore, and that you could always just get an upgrade.
It was its own thing.
It was its own thing. Yeah, you didn't have to spend a bunch of time doing that. So, but yeah, I like driving the boat. I thought it was cool. It was definitely different enough to say it's a different game, but it still had the same vibe to it, in which I think both of us really liked Flip Town too. You played Flip Town.
I did. I liked Flip Town.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the theme of Flip Town better, but I think this might be a better game.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're both really fun. The Flip Town theme, I think, shines through a lot more than this one. I liked kind of fighting the sheriff and making the poker hands,
robbing
and all
trains,
that stuff.
and
yeah.
I did get Flip Town New Frontiers, which is like a standalone expansion for Flip Town, in which you can combine them together too. So we'll have to get that out too and see what
Mega
what
Flip Town.
Yeah. But this one has individual player powers, which I think was an addition in Flip Town. So that starts in the base game here, and then there's a couple other, I don't know, nuanced differences. But I really liked it. I thought it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. That's it.
I got one that I will talk about, although I have been an absolute travel machine of late in Atlanta, St. Louis, Ljubljana, and Las Vegas. So I've played literally 2 games in the last 2 months, and I'll save one for the next podcast just in case I don't play any others. So I'm going to talk about a game from my childhood that's called Waterworks. It was made in 1972, and its designer is Matin Mustakas. And so I have fond memories of playing this game as a kid. Basically, you're just like building pumps, and you try to get the water to go from your spout out to, or sorry, from the spout is where it comes out. What's the twisty thing called? Is there a name for that? What on the hoses?
The knob?
The knob?
The knob. Okay, from the knob
Spigot?
to the spout spigot. Yeah. Anyways, it is not a good game upon replaying it. I mean, it's just really mean, but I think that there's a good game mixed in there. So like you have have a hand, and you're trying to build these things. You're trying to build out, the tunnel that makes your water travel through, and you can put lead pieces of pipe, which that's not great also, but those can be broken.
Hey, wait, it was perfect in 1973.
People just didn't, sure.
Yeah, it worked well.
Anyways, you can put those out, but people can sabotage them, and then they make them leak, and then you can't continue to build onto your network of pipes while that happens. And there's also copper pipes, which are less likely, but then those can't break. So it's a matter of trying to build your thing out. But the thing that I think is neat about it, and why maybe there's a kernel of a good game in there, is all of the cards are at set angles, and you have to orient them the same way always. And so you can't rotate it around. So trying to get something that makes sense while also clogging, ending all the different points, I don't know. I think there's something there. Maybe this is a game that could get remade at some point, but it was, entirely luck-based and being mean to each other. And what's funny, because I played with some of my family members and my daughter, and she really likes my sister a lot. And so anytime anything bad happened to Lainey, she would spend her whole turn fixing Lainey's pipe. So then, Lainey just won. But it was, I don't know, it was fun to go down the memory lane of a game I played when I was really young. I hadn't played again since.
So the goal is to try to stop up all the openings?
So you need to get water from your spigot to your spout continuously and have there be no other openings anywhere else. And so you have to have the cards to do that, and other people putting leaks in it.
Have you played Bandito?
I have not.
Bandito is
Exactly
is cooperative Waterworks.
Oh,
essentially. So in that game, you start with
Are there also lead pipes, but you can hit people
no.
with them?
There is a guy trying to dig out of jail, and you have to stop him from digging out of jail. But every turn you have to put something down, and usually you're playing something where you might have to on your turn you may have to turn like one exit into 3 exits, and that's bad. So a lot of it is like trying to like get the tunnels to like reconnect into each other. It's a really fun, like really small box cooperative game.
So it seems like my idea of finding a good game in this has already happened. So scratch that.
But you can orientate this however you want, which is different.
I think that's kind of a neat thing about it. At first, I was like, this is so restrictive, but I thought that's actually kind of cool. So
yeah. It's interesting that a game that's that old by Parker Brothers, I mean, it says other publishers, but Parker Brothers has a designer, because normally like mass market stuff, they
it's not
didn't
listed.
put like, like that. It'd be like uncredited because it's some Joe Schmo that works at Parker Brothers.
Yeah.
Like that wasn't a thing to give credit back then, right?
But it's always fun to play games that are, over a decade older than you are. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave?
Been on the Larry Harris train lately. He's the Axis and Allies fella.
Oh, well, you played that giant War Room game, didn't you?
Yeah. So War Room is a World War II game, Axis versus Allies. We have not finished a game for how long it is. Usually it's we'll start at about 9. We'll call it around midnight. But yeah, it
9
is
9 a.m. till midnight?
9 a.m. Yeah. It's
I mean, Brett told
fun.
me you guys played for about 10 hours or so and stopped. But he said by that point, you kind of already know who was going to win.
You know what's going to happen. It's just, do you want to do all the dice? Do you want to do all the movements to end it officially? But we haven't ended it officially. We just see the writing on the wall.
I've never played Axis and Allies, but I assume it's a little bit like that too, where once someone starts, rolling over everybody else, there might be like some cleanup you have to do, but you can kind of call it. Is that same vibe? Okay.
Pretty much same vibe. So that we usually do that a couple times a year. We have to ask our significant others for a weekend off because we're going to need to sleep in the next day. But yeah, that one's pretty good. Another.
So would you recommend playing it for 12 hours?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that 12 hours. It flies by if you can fly by with 12 hours. Yeah.
I mean, the only game that I played that was like usually that long was that Civ game.
Mega Civ.
Oh,
yeah.
And you could have definitely played whatever this War Room game is in between the turns that you actually took in that one.
Mm.
So yeah, hopefully it's not like that. Hopefully everybody's engaged in the turns.
Yeah, everybody is engaged. You do. We have separate rooms that the Axis players talk in, so yeah, it's an elaborate ordeal how we play.
See, that's how Game of Thrones should be. There should be lots of getting up from the table and like side deals and things like that.
Melting down about your dragons for 22 minutes.
Oh man.
You were at that game.
That's a
Hi, Josh.
deep cut. I mean, you guys should probably graduate from War Room to the campaign for North Africa.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen that one?
The 3,600 hour campaign game. Yeah.
Yeah, it has like 62 days of nonstop play or something to actually finish it.
Another one that just delivered from Larry Harris is called Imperial Borders, the War in Vienna. That one takes place after Napoleon gets dispatched, and then basically that Austrian region, all the France, Spain, England, they're all fighting over that territory. That one also not as long, but cannons, ships, cavalry, infantry, a lot of dice involved. But yeah, it's a 20 pound game. So cool. I'm looking forward to playing it again. But yeah, very strategic. And they've got these cool little medals that you get at the end of each round. Like if you control the most captain naval units, you get this little badge that you just get
like a military like pin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Is anybody showing up in like a
full regalia?
Not yet. Okay. We'll pencil you in next time.
I mean, let me know. If I can make it work, I'll play either one of those games.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, looking forward to playing that. That was only about 7 hours, so that one.
We're in TI territory now.
Yeah, we're
that.
That's easy. Yeah.
I mean, that's like a half a day.
Yeah,
Your significant other doesn't get as mad.
Yeah.
Right. Just half as mad.
Then a little lighter than that, I played Flamecraft like 2 weeks ago. That was all right. Cuter than the other two, but
that's true. That is definitely different.
Yeah.
Isn't there one that just came out? Was it T Witches?
T Witches, yeah.
Have you played that?
I have not. I've wanted to. It was on the play to win at Capital City Gaming Con.
Hi-yo!
But yeah, I didn't end up playing it.
It's the same designer, right? It looks like it has a lot the same vibes.
I believe
to
so.
It.
Yeah, it came out from the op.
Yeah, that looks cool too. Flamecraft's fine.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine.
Go check out our review in season something, episode something. It was our board game Geek Con review we did with
season 11, episode 9.
He just pulled that from his brain,
name?
ladies and gents.
Yeah.
That's the episode we did
Grant
with Grant.
Plays Games.
Yeah, with Grant from Grant's Game Rex, Grant Lyons.
Does he still do that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen anything from him in a while.
That's like his main thing now, I think. Like, I think he's less comedian and more like board game creator content. He travels a lot of conventions and stuff, so.
He made a game.
He did make a game, and I've played it. It's something about pickles. I can't remember the name of it.
It's a pickle pun. I don't remember what it is. Yeah.
It was at Dungeons Gate. I saw that. All right, I have a couple to talk about. They're all on the far lighter side than Dave's.
No 22-hour games for you.
No. One is actually probably more like a 15-minute game. It's called Excalibur. It is by Manny Tremblay. The artist is James Van Niekerk and Manny Tremblay. And
what else has he done?
Roxley.
He sounds familiar. I'll look that up while you're talking.
Dice Throne.
He did Roth. I'm pretty sure he's a Roth guy.
Gotcha. Anyway, in Excalibur, this is the lightest, smallest, most overproduced game I own.
That's like the understatement of the century.
It comes with 3 actual little metal swords, and they're literally just to divide the playing area up. There's a little thing in the box that mentioned not to take this game through airport security. They would not be liable for what would happen.
You can stab each other with them.
You definitely could. I mean, they're pretty blunt.
They're like letter openers.
Yeah. So in Excalibur, basically, there's these little chips. There's an Excalibur sword, a cursed blade.
The overproduced part, their chips are like Chip Theory games style, like really nice.
Yeah, I don't even know what material they are, but they're super nice. Now, to be fair, there are like 3 levels of this game, and this is the most deluxe one. There's like a wooden one, and then there's a cardboard version too. So there's like 3 different price points for this one. But the game, it's kind of a bluffing game. You have 4 chips down in front of you most times, and everyone will blindly or pick one, or not blindly pick one. You pick one and you put it out in front of you, then everybody reveals. Some have on reveal abilities. Some have abilities to go right away. If you have the cool little crown, you're first. You might switch things with other people. You might steal stuff from people. You might take stuff out of the middle. The game ends once, depending on how many players you're playing, how many of the 3 sections are empty in the middle. If you have the sword at the end of the game, you win. Excalibur. If you have the cursed blade, you're the big loser. And if you have the squire's sword and you're sitting to the right of the person with Excalibur, you also win because you're kind of like the right-hand man. This can be played like by literally everybody. It has a few player aids that explains everything on there. And there's a bunch of different kinds of chips. Some of them have duplicates. Some are just like one time. But it also explains what happens on the chips at first. At first I was like, oh man, do you not know what these chips do? But they do have the writing on them. If you're looking for like a really quick, like funny little bluffing / haha, take that, I'm going to steal that thing from you kind of game, Excalibur's pretty fun.
It was super fun. And the production, I think, makes it significantly better. I don't know. Like, sometimes it doesn't matter that much, but this one I felt like it made the experience way more fun.
I think so. The chips were super nice.
Yeah, and the swords and I don't know. Just, it's over the top and great. Just like the game.
I got another one. This one's from Lucky Duck Games. It's called Purrramid. That is with 3 R's if you're trying to find this on BGG. It is by Reiner Knizia. And this game is basically a push your luck game where you're rolling dice and there's a board in the middle of the table and you have all these acrylic cat tiles. And they're all kinds of different shapes or like the art on them is all different, but it doesn't matter. They're all the same. You divide them all up amongst all the players. You roll the dice and there's a pyramid with numbers and squares on them. You basically get to pick one or more dice. You add up those numbers and you get to put a cat in a space that has that number on it. You have to start at the bottom and work to the top. And then you decide if you want to roll the dice again and try to put more cats out. At the end of the game, you're actually only putting the dice out to begin with. When you decide to stop, if all your dice are touching each other and have legal placements, which means there's tiles underneath them and like nothing's hanging off, you get to place the cats out. So like you can push your luck and be like, oh, I need this number to keep doing it. And there's like it's double-sided board with the numbers in slightly different places. And so there's a couple of numbers like the 10, you actually get to put 2 cats out. So like 10 is better. In the 12, you get to put 3 cats out and they like stack on top of each other. Whoever runs out of their cat tiles first wins. It's kind of like Can't Stop a little bit, only like you have to stop eventually. And there are ways to get like bonus extra turns if you've accomplished certain things. Like if you have put like a cat in 3 different levels, you just get a like roll and go again, but you go with less dice. So there's some things like to push your luck for. If you bust, you're just done, then it goes to the next person. The game should just end when someone runs out of tiles, but it doesn't, because you get to decide how well the winner actually won the game, this is where the game falls flat for me. There's a pile of these gold tiles that once you run out of tiles, you take the gold tiles, and then you go until you've placed all those tiles or another person has run out. And then based on that, you have like a score rubric that says how well that person did. So you're basically playing the game for another few minutes past the time you know the person already won. That seems kind of dumb to me. They do say you can play multiple games, like flip it to the other side and then like see who got the better score or something. It's like if you really want to play this game more than once in a row, but like I feel like you can just ignore that part and you could just play to whoever ran out of cats first and that game would just be fine. I think it's kind of goofy playing with the extra tiles. I don't know if I make sense with that, but...
Yeah, so basically you know who won and then everybody keeps going to see like maybe who got second place and then
maybe
how much the first place person could put on the board to
exactly
compared to like a previous game.
Well, there's a thing in the rulebook that's like if you place all 9 tiles... there's like a little blurb, it's like in a co-op,
right?
It's like in Core Discovery when you actually score the game and you get like a rating or like any co-op game.
Hot Streak.
Yeah. Where you get to read the little blurb.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's Purrramid. Thanks, Reiner. I want to talk about a really, really weird one called Fest Season. This is by Green Astra Games. The designer is Luis Villegas. I had no idea about this game, and it is super fun, and it's impossible to find, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time for that. This is a Kickstarter, and basically there's a board where you're building your own musical festival, and you do that by, there's basically these tracks that when you decide to do an action, you move the slider up the track, and you pick one of the actions you want to do, which is like, get artists, or make your venue better, or increase like the knobs for like, certain artists will score a certain number of points depending on how far you turned their knob up in the game. And that's also the timer for the game. So like every time a slider hits the top, it resets down to the player count. And then this main slider moves up 1. And you basically are just like building your board the best you can to like score points. And you're trying to hire these artists to play your stages. And the game has like 4 tracks, and you just track bump to bump this track to bump that track. Which
sounds like Rob's game.
Exactly. If you ever get a chance to play Fest Season, check it out. It was really, really fun. It was pretty easy to get into, and it really hit like that music theme for sure. I really liked Fest Season. Last one I want to talk about is Lairs. This is my most played game since the last podcast. It was recommended to me by the Louisiana crew. One of the guys down there had been playing it with his son. This was a recent Kickstarter from KTBG Games, which is Kids Table Board Games, I think. They're the same company. They're Canadian. I think they're an imprint of the same company that does Endeavor Deep Sea, like Burnt Island games. You can tell like from their production is very similar and like very nice. And this is designer Josh Capel and Christopher Westmoss. I have an expansion that it ups it from 2 to, and then you play it to 4 players. I have not played that version of the game at all. But this is a 1v1 game where there's a player screen for each of you, and you're building a dungeon full of walls, treasures, and monsters. And you're trying to move through the opponent's dungeon and find the exit. To exit, you have to either get 2 treasures or kill get 3 treasures or 3 monsters or 2 monsters and 2 treasures, and then you can exit, and then you score points for treasures and monsters. And like sometimes you get points for traps, and the treasures score all kinds of different ways. And how you play the game is on the screen, so it's pretty easy. And as you play the game comes with all this unlockable stuff. So like more action. It makes the game more complex as you go, which I know is not a Jake favorite thing from like Revive, like the way Revive did it. I think it works really well in Lairs because it's a kid's game and as a way to like introduce the game slowly to kids. And they even say like, and Bo and I have done this, like once you open a box, there's 2 envelopes after every box, and they're like, you can open these right now if you want along with the box, or you can play games and like kind of slow roll it. We've kind of been doing it both ways. We're probably only halfway through the box, but like you start the game with only one kind of trap and one kind of monster, and now we're up to 3 different monsters and 3 different traps and like different ways to interact with stuff. I think by the end of this thing, it's going to be like a full-blown, like, you play this with any other, like 2 adults playing this game, we're going to have a blast doing it because it's insane. And just like building your dungeon's really fun to try to like figure out the best way of like mapping the walls and stuff. I'm curious to see what the expansion and like the multiplayer thing brings. So yeah, I definitely want to try this game with you guys sometime.
Yeah, and you posted some pictures on it. It looks fun.
Yeah, there's all kinds of pictures out there. So Lairs is the last one. And that one is going to be into retail. Like you can buy everything you can buy for the Kickstarter, I think. And they're going to be coming to their website, like refilling it on their website too, it sounds like. All right, Dave, we talked about what we're playing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Capital City Gaming Con in Des Moines, Iowa, coming up on what dates?
All right, October 16th through the 18th. We will be having our Des Moines Con. I think this is our 6th year, maybe our 7th year.
That sounds like something you should know.
Yeah,
Dave.
there's something I should know. I think it's probably our...
I've been there every year.
Yeah, I have two. I have two.
I have 2. I don't remember how many that is.
I think
though.
this is our 6th year.
Okay.
Maybe our 7th. Anyway, we'll edit that out. But yeah, this year we have a new location.
Fix it in post.
In the post. This year we have a new location over Holidae Inn over on Fleur Drive across from the airport, the Des Moines airport. This is our first year there. It has a larger space for us and space for us to grow. We've got about 3,000 more square feet that we can play with. So that is, we've always run into space issues at our previous location. We were definitely, everybody was getting all scrunched together. So hopefully, and we've got about 70 more tables at this location too. So yeah, nice big area for us.
So if you heard that right, this location is near the airport for all our non-Des Moines listeners. So fly on in to Des Moines International Airport. Yes, that's right. We have an international airport. And just pop over to the Holiday Inn, just like what, Chingy? Did Chingy say that?
Chilling at the Holiday Inn?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Is that Chingy?
I don't know.
Who is that?
Pitbull is like hotel.
Cam would know.
Cam would definitely know.
Now I got to look it up.
And I'm chilling.
Some other stuff we have is we got more rooms that are more guest rooms that we can book out as well. I mentioned we have about 3,000 more square feet, but as we grow, we can go up to 34,000 square feet versus the...
So wait, how many square feet do you have now?
At our old hotel,
yeah,
we had 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
Now we have 13,000. We can go up to 34,000 if we...
So double again, basically.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we can, depending on ticket sales, last year we had 477 attendees at the con. We're going to try to push that over 500 this year and increase from there.
I would highly recommend just getting a room there. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah, so much easier.
It really, really does. Yeah. I've done it the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That's true. I joined in last year, and I will say that was pretty fun.
Yeah, because then you can stay up late, kind of sleep in, I guess, and I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll all be there again this year, I assume.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, I mean, I'll probably stay, as far as staying on site.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you can kick your kids into the pool and play board games.
Exactly.
Yep.
Have a couple beers.
Yeah. Yeah. We also, tickets, let's see, this will release in a couple weeks here. Early bird tickets are going on sale May 1st, so they are ongoing currently.
That is true. You can go get them now.
Go get them now. And they will end on June 1st. Early bird tickets will end on June 1st.
How much is the difference between early bird and
$10.
$10, okay.
$10.
Where can you get these tickets?
CapitalCityGamingCon.com. You can get them there. That will then move you over to a tabletop events website where you can purchase there.
Or you can just search up on tabletop events, right?
Yep.
Like every other convention that uses it.
Yep. Yeah, that one I think is pretty much a staple for most cons, I believe, to get. Maybe I don't think Gen Con does, though. I don't think they use tabletop.
No, they got their own thing.
They got enough money rolling in. They can do whatever they so please. Also, depending on, we're closing in on 1,000 followers on our Capital City Gaming Con Facebook. Give that a follow and post your game that you're looking forward to on the post that I posted on April 23rd. List the game that you are looking forward to playing. You might be entered into a free game. Free pass to the con. But yeah, go ahead and do that, and we'll be drawing as soon as we hit 1,000 followers. And I think right now we are about 55 followers away, so we're getting there pretty soon.
Yeah, so by the time this comes out, probably be pretty close. Yeah,
pretty close.
So you'll have, last year I would say the play to wins were fantastic. They were really good.
Very good.
Yeah. I assume it would be pretty, you have the same play to wins again.
Yep.
Does that keep growing every year? More and more? Yeah,
we'll be having more play to wins. We reach out to quite a few companies to see if they can donate games to us. Otherwise, we're going to go shopping with our budget and kind of picking up the hot games that are around here. We do have some of our local game stores around here also donating stuff for, like, even if you volunteer at the con, you're going to get a free game out of our containers that we have. We have bingo at these things. So if you volunteer, if you play a certain game, if you meet somebody that's out of state, you complete your bingo card, you hand that in, there's a good chance that you're going to get a free game that way too. So we're giving games out left and right. Some of them are pretty sweet. Like before I started being a staff member here, I ended up getting Blood on the Clock Tower for free.
Okay.
So we got some
like
cool
Luthier
stuff.
was in the play to win. I know Board Boy Bo, like High Five Board Boy Bo was on the bingo card, which was interesting. I don't think he actually realized that until
he didn't know that till he got there.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of high-fiving.
Yeah. I
know there's a lot of people just stopping by our booth that we had there asking who the heck he was.
Right. Where's he at? Yeah. So you'll have that. You'll have like scheduled events, right?
Yep.
Is it through the tabletop events?
Yeah, we'll have
website?
it through Meeple Meet, and then we'll also have it through tabletop events. Some of the larger events we'll schedule through tabletop events. So like Blood on the Clock Tower, Dealt Hand usually, Joe with Dealt Hand usually runs those. We'll have those scheduled here on tabletop events here shortly. We'll open that up to create stuff here within the next couple months. But yeah, we're going to open up tickets. Tickets will be open now by the time this releases. But yeah, we're gonna try to make this one the biggest one yet. So.
Yeah,
the game library they bring in is really awesome too. That board game wagon.
Yep.
They've got all kinds of stuff, and they even have a lot of newer things too. So
Yeah.
they do a really good job at curating that collection. I think
they have about 1,500, 1,600 games that they bring over from Nebraska. They're coming back this year. They usually have a slew of games that just don't get checked out anymore that they want to get rid of. So they'll sell those on site. We've got garage sale planned again. So if you have anything that you personally want to get rid of, we have tables to purchase and you can sell those. Normally we do that sale on Sunday morning. I think we're probably going to do that again. But yeah, we'll have a garage sale then as well. That usually gets pretty heavily trafficked. We'll have vendors on site as well. I know Dungeons Gate has already said they are committed. I believe it was Never Board Games in Norwalk, Atlas in Ankeny, Mayhem should be there as well. But yeah, we'll probably have some more vendors here coming back as well.
Yeah, Joe from Dealt Hand usually grabs one. We grabbed it. Were we a vendor?
we were a vendor
We
last year.
were a vendor last year.
We were.
Yeah,
We had a table.
which is fantastic. We actually stole a different table because Dave said we could.
That's true. We got like a bonus table.
Yeah.
I'm glad you just put that out there.
Oh, sorry,
Because
because some we'll
Edit.
we'll beat that one out. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, you usually have like a couple, like 4 or 5 hot games that are sitting out in the area with, like, you have someone specifically to teach them to people that are walking by, right?
Yeah, we can do that. But Board Game Wagon does have the hot games, the ones that you can check out. You can check those out closer to where we're going to have some for the new location, we're going to have a main ballroom, which is where most of the gaming's going to be. We're going to have an event room where we're going to have our tournaments. Usually we have like a Splendor tournament. Was it Jaipur, Catan?
And the Catan tournaments are usually part of like the national tournament scene, right? Or whatever, like a qualifier. At least there's been a couple qualifiers.
There has been
right?
some qualifiers, yeah. But yeah, we'll have some more tournaments. We'll have trophies made for said tournaments as well.
Aaron usually runs a Mario Kart Kart battle, where you have to tie balloons onto yourself and pop each other's balloons.
I did mark that as the game that I want to jump into next year. So I know Bo really wanted to play that. So
we usually give a knife to somebody to pop somebody else's balloons.
So fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll, I don't know if are we going to plan our inaugural Game of Thrones?
We took a hiatus from that last year.
Yeah.
We did. Yep. I mean, we should.
Maybe we'll have to bring it back for the new location.
Yeah.
We played
Station Fall.
We played Station Fall this time as the game, and that was fun. I need to get that played again, I think.
Yeah, so usually we kick the con off, like we were doing Game of Thrones almost every year, but some sort of bigger 6, 7, 8 player game that is not Twilight Imperium. Like that's somewhere around 2, 3, 4 hours, not 5, 6, 7 hours or whatever. But yeah, Game of Thrones has been really fun. So, and we'll have, I'm sure Rob does a pretty good job. We had like a big hot streak game of like 12 or 14 people.
That was a blast
that we scheduled. We'll Board Boys will schedule some games on tabletop events to hang out and play. But all kinds of people are putting stuff up there. To play, to be willing to teach and things like that, which is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a great game playing con. It's really easy to get into games, find them. There's always people wandering around and setting stuff up. So
yeah, we have some signage, whether you need players, whether you need to teach. We have a lot of the staff here has a copious amount of games ourselves, so we can teach quite a few games that we have available. So yeah, it's again, it's going to be October 16th through the 18th. Tickets are on sale now for early bird. If you get them now before June 1st, you'll get $10 off the normal price. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Looking forward to it.
All right, tonight on the podcast, we played Cthulhu Dark Providence. It came out in 2025. It re-implements a study in Emerald. It is currently ranked 4,573rd overall. It is 7.5 out of 10 on Board Game Geek. It is 1 to 5 players. It says best at 4 or 5. Ages 13 plus, 90 to 120 minutes. The weight is 3.28 out of 5. The designer is Travis R. Chance and Martin Wallace. I feel like Martin Wallace did the 2 other original games. I feel like this was mostly Travis Chance riffing off of like Martin Wallace's previous design. I'm not sure how much he did in this one. The artist is Anders Feiner, and it is by CMON Global Limited, or CMON, or whatever they go by these days.
Whatever they are this week.
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know if
by the time this podcast releases, maybe they're not a company anymore. Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised we got this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they're still, I think they kind of redid a thing, and they're putting out I think they just put out like a new Kickstarter, like a new Zombicide thing.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me because they're like 10 Kickstarters behind or something right now.
I know I'm due at least 3.
Like, who is still going to give these people money?
You're right.
Probably a lot of people.
Yeah. It's got that exclusive stuff.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have probably been turned off, but I haven't looked at what the funding goes. Would anybody like to give a shot at how you play this game, or should I?
I think you should do this one.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Yeah. I don't know that I even know how to play after playing it.
Okay. Well, that actually has been my experience, at least with the first edition. But Cthulhu Dark Providence is played...
Maybe you should read that description again.
Okay. Cthulhu Dark Providence is played over a series of turns until the end game is triggered. It can be triggered in a bunch of different ways that I'm not going to get into right now. There are secret allegiances, either cultists or investigators, and there is a new type that wasn't in the old game, which is a dissident that can be a cultist or an investigator, and they score slightly differently. On your turn, you take 2 actions. The actions are usually playing cards out of your hand for symbols, and that is to put influence out on the board, to take influence off the board, to actually buy cards with the influence you've already put on the board. You can use gold to buy more cubes so you can spend more influence. You can spend the gold symbols to move around. You can play the cards for actions. You can play an action just to discard cards, because this is a deck building game as well, to clear cards out of your hand. Or you can pass, which I feel like is a really dumb thing to do in this game. Your first action, if you want to take a card, always has to be to gain the card. So you can't put cubes on something and be like, yep, that's mine now. You're also going to be running around trying to murder other investigators on the board. You can buy cards that will add more investigators to the board. And you can actually murder other people's investigators, their main one even, if they've scored more than 5 points. And that is one way the game ends. You're trying to open and close gates. You're trying to move these 2 tracks up on the board. If they get to the top, whether you're a cultist or an investigator, that's another way for the game to end. There's a lot of area majority stuff. There's a lot of sneaky trying to get the right cards to get the right cards to the right spot to score the most points. And I guess the biggest part of the game is the allegiances. At the end of the game, whoever is in last place, their allegiance can't win. So if Jake and I are cultists and I'm in last place and Jake is in first place, even though he's in first place, he can't win because I ended up last. So that's the little wrinkle that Cthulhu Dark Providence brings. I think that's good enough for the overview. Why don't we get to the table and come back with our thoughts on Cthulhu Dark Providence? All right, initial thoughts time here for Cthulhu Dark Providence. Dave, I'll let you go first because you're the one that got me in a group buy to get this game originally, I think. Right?
Yeah, so we pre-ordered. This was one of CMON's quote-unquote pre-orders. I don't know how that differentiates from their Kickstarter crowdfunding. I think just less exclusive.
They needed money
immediately versus they didn't want to give the 10% to Kickstarter. Maybe they certainly can't now,
right?
With their fundage. But yeah, we had a group buy, save on shipping, and it was you, me, Brett, and Cody, I believe. And I think you and I are the only one who have played it so far.
Perfect.
I have played the first edition of Study in Emerald. I played the second edition Study in Emerald. I think we played it at Cabin Con.
We played the first edition for sure.
Yep. And this one is very similar. We'll call it just Study in Emerald version 3, Dark Providence edition. But yeah, I would give it an okay. On the box says 90 to 120 minutes. We finished in about an hour because we're pro gamers. That's, I assume.
I mean, I will say, like, the game feels a lot better when we're taking snappy turns. I've definitely been through a couple of slogs of this one. So, Jake, what are your initial thoughts?
So I haven't played really anything in this theme universe or the original game, so I was completely new to it. I had heard Rob talk about it several times, so I had a little bit of background of what it was going to be like. I guess based on the mechanisms that I knew were going to be in it, it was about what I thought it was going to be, and I'll go into that a little bit more later.
My initial thought was, I'm not reading any of these cards, which is, I don't know.
Tim in every game has a lot of cards.
It's a pretty standard.
Unfortunately, that's most of the game.
Correct. Yeah, which is fine. But yeah, that's like when you start flipping over all these cards, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have such a hard time focusing. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So my first impression was like, oh no, this is going to be rough for me. So
for me, I've played all 3 versions now, and I really saw where they streamlined and fixed some things and made some things less swingy and less wonky from the first edition. But the second edition kind of over streamlined things and made it too simplistic, and I think took away what was really fun about the game. And so I feel like this is a happy medium between the two. So that was kind of where I was at. I do miss, we can get into pros and cons now. I think the Study in Emerald theme is cooler than the Dark Providence theme. Sorry, Cthulhu Death May Die. Just, I don't know, because it's actual literature, and I think Sherlock Holmes is really cool, a cool dude. But I think one of the pros for me for this is the board is a lot easier to read than the first one. A con to that is the board is pretty ugly.
I mean, I played the original, but it's still not ideal. I mean, not super great for seeing the lines.
The first one had like tentacles everywhere, and like it was really pretty, but it was pretty to the point where it was hard to read. Like, think Batoku, like worse than the Batoku board as far as it goes. So anyway, like that was one thing. The rule book for this was pretty darn good. I really got what I needed out of it, and the back page of it is got a really good guide. So good that I actually printed another one off of the BGG page, and I kind of made a couple of notes that I thought it was missing in my little handwritten notes. So I haven't played this in a couple of months, and I was able to kind of teach it and get it back out pretty quickly. So
for people who like, a lot of variability in the way the games go, I mean, there's a lot of different cards that do a lot of different things. So I think there's some fun synergies that you can develop through that. And then having played it a few more times because of the deck building nature of this game, I think there's a lot of ways that you could be purposeful upon future plays to make that kind of enrich your experience with it.
Yeah, this was really a throwback more to the first one. Like in the first one, there was a zombies card, but the zombies weren't in every game. There was a vampire card, there's a card in here that's kind of like that, where Tim kept asking, how do we flip these guys over to the other side?
Dude, the red eyes are sweet.
The Revenant.
Yeah. So you can turn them into like Revenants, and like that's a way that you would score points like for having flipped over guys, but that's not in every game. So it still has some, and then there's like the deep ones where you can end the game by playing the deep ones card and getting them all on the board. And if you're a cultist, that's worth 8 points to you, which is huge. So it has these little wowza gotcha kind of cards in there, but you're not always going to see them, and they're not always going to be in every game. So was I the only one that bought a Mythos card?
I tried.
Sorry. Those Mythos cards are like, with the things they do are just bonkers and completely do like wacky and random stuff. And there's a whole deck of those that you're hardly going to see either, because when you buy them, they don't automatically refill. So
we only showed 5 of those, right?
Yeah.
Out of probably a deck.
And there's
30.
some definitely game-changing weird stuff that can happen in there. So to me, this game falls in a category kind of like Cosmic Encounter, where a little bit of the game depends on players to balance it. And this game is not going to be a super balanced experience out of the box, I don't think. It's just not, it's not a Euro in that sense. It has a little bit of area control with the cards and things, but it's kind of a tactical, do what you can, move around the board and make the best of it scenario, I think.
Whether you're an investigator or cultist, that is hidden information, but it's pretty apparent over the first, I would say, 2-3 turns what you are, and then it's up to the other players to whether kill your character. Oh yeah, one of the things we should mention is you can kill other people's characters, but they have to have a minimum VP already in order for them to get eradicated. But yeah, I think we only had one character die.
Mine died due to trying to close a gate, and I drew a insanity. He went crazy closing a gate. So
you printed some extra little stands. Just the little tokens just sit on the board when you're playing your regular
No, the game came with little cardboard things that were assembled, and without glue, they were never going to stay together.
Okay.
So I did end up gluing them, but I did find these STL 3D printed stands that kind of have tentacles on them that look really cool. They're like this. These are maybe slightly larger. The cardboard is probably a little smaller than them, which, we're probably just going to be free flowing this game a little bit. Another con is there can be a lot of stuff on the board, and being able to see what's what and where, and if like there's cubes hiding behind a thing or a lock token, that can be hard to see.
Got me a couple times.
Yeah. On the pro side, this is a game where you have to be, and I think I talked about this when I talked about it before, I think this game engages you the whole time because you need to be paying attention. Like, if you're not paying attention to what somebody's doing, they could be snaking a card that's going to kill you. There's a lot going on the board, and you kind of got to be paying attention at all times. And what people do on their turn, I think is important to you during the game generally. And like in a lot of other games, maybe you don't care so much, but you definitely need to be paying attention. It can't be one where it's like, oh, it's my turn. What am I going to do? Kind of a scenario. You got to be kind of invested the whole time.
Yeah, and I think my biggest pro for this game, at least this play, the turns were fast. So, it's not hard to stay invested on a turn that takes 30 seconds to a minute for everybody. It's really hard to stay invested if they take 15 minutes. So I don't know how your other plays were, but this one, people didn't take more than a 2-minute turn, like max, like maybe even not even that.
Yeah.
So,
and turns should be fairly quick with this. I think nothing you do like really combos into something that does something else, that does something else. You're generally playing cards and doing a thing. And even though you get to do 2 things on your turn, which I think is also cool, because you can do 2 things to set up, or it really makes a lot of sense where you can't buy something with like your you can't claim something with your second action. So every time you try to take something, it has a turn to wheel around for someone to mess with you before you get to do it.
in the other 2 editions, was it 2 actions?
Yes.
Okay.
The turn structure, and basically the turn structure and what you do in the game is pretty identical as far as the influence and the moving, and I think even like the closing and opening gate, like I think all that was pretty much the same.
Yeah, I would echo the quick turns as well. It was probably 2.5, 3 minutes before it was your turn again. So everything was done super quick. There's no dice rolling, but like Rob said, there's 2 things you do on your turn, and you're basically not fighting anybody else during that particular turn. So you're doing those 2 actions, and then boom, you're done. Next person. So yeah, some of your turns could just be quick 20, 30 seconds, and then on to the next.
On that note, go ahead.
Oh, I could see if someone had to read the cards and understand the cards like all the time, every turn, where
that's where it bogs down.
Yeah.
For
Like,
sure.
Oh, I got to put cubes out. Oh, let me read all these cards again to then, if you have a group that has to do that, then maybe this takes a little longer.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that has been my experience, because there are 12 cards out at a time, plus Mythos cards, plus, I mean, the cities all have different things on them too. So not only do you score the points for the cities, you also get a card with symbols on them. And it's also important to look at the cards for the symbols and what they actually do.
I was just going to say quick in regards to length of turns too. It's also one of those where you have your hand ahead of time. So you are looking while everybody's doing the rest of their turns to kind of map out what's going to happen. It's not like you don't have that information until you're ready to go. So I think that helps speed that up as well.
The difference is there might be cubes where you weren't expecting cubes or something like that.
I actually like that you can mess with other people. I mean,
that's most of this game.
Yeah.
That's what it should be, I think.
I thought it was good. And yeah, definitely the claim on your first action helps that be more palatable, right? So where it has to go through everybody else. Otherwise, it's just...
you definitely get a chance to react to almost everything that's going to happen.
Now, on the other side is sometimes it might be buried behind somebody else. You might not be able to count all the cubes that are on a space or something like that, but...
That is true. I do like the fact that you can claim things wherever you want. You don't have to actually be there. The only things your people on the board do for you is the ability to assassinate or open and close gates. But they also do count as influence towards you. So you can leave them on spots to try to protect them. Like if you took a city card and you don't want somebody to take it and you leave 1 or 2 people there, that means they need to put at least 2 or 3 cubes out there to be able to take it back.
So I guess to kind of counter a little bit some of that, I do think that there is some ambiguity, at least when you're starting to play like as what my person does for me, or when yes, I need to be there for this, or no, I don't need to be there for this. And so some of that's kind of weird. It almost feels like the gold movement is just superfluous, because I mean, you could largely play this game by claiming cities and getting a lot of points and just not ever move your people. So to me, it honestly felt like that part of the game was a little bit half-baked. And maybe that was just, the experience of having not played it and maximized that all that well. But the other thing I want to add on that, and this partially has to do with where your people are, but I had a bit of if you've played Mage Knight before, you're really bound by the hand of cards that you have, and you can put yourself in a situation where you want to do something, but then that just not be what you get. And there's just not a great way around that, especially if you have to wait for a couple rounds of people to get through. There's a lot of time that can prevent you from doing what you want to do. So in one situation, I had set myself up to open this gate, but I just could not draw the cards that gave me enough power to do it, even though they were in my deck. But then I was churning so few cards over because I wanted to keep a couple that I just felt kind of stuck. And so I
That happened to me too. I just took a discard action to try to get the cards I needed once.
Yeah, so I mean, and I guess it is what it is. I mean, that's a part of the way the game works. But I guess for somebody who tends to lean towards more Euro games, you are bound by things that are out of your control, maybe more than that type of player would like.
Yeah, but to talk to that, you said that the moving wasn't super important. Well, if you really want that, you just can move all your guys in there, and then you need less cards to actually do the thing too, right? So having your people around, that's the main thing for opening and closing gates and trying to like murk other people. And it just becomes easier if you can gang up and move them all to one space to do it. Then you're less reliant on the card draw.
But even in that case, still, you have to have the card to do the action. Just having them there doesn't open that up for you automatically.
You do.
I wonder maybe in a longer play, but at least in this one, it just doesn't feel like there's time to do anything to kind of deke anybody out. Like what you're capable of doing, especially the main actions that earn you points, whether it's opening and closing gates or claiming cities, like all of those things take enough of a build for the most part. I mean, multiple turns. That it just seems like, why would I do something that wasn't going to help my faction? Which then it kind of makes me feel like, well, what's the point of having those in that case? Has there been other games where you've played where people have intentionally done like a deke, but it just kind of seems like that would be a whole lot of effort for not a lot of gain?
I don't know. So do you mean like by taking cities and stuff?
So, I mean, like doing something that, even though I'm a cultist, that would make people think I'm not a cultist.
I mean, everyone starts with the closed gate thing. I've definitely closed gates as a cultist because I had the card, and now, hey, you can't score those 5 points. Like, I think that's a thing. Also, like, anybody can murder anybody. Like, if you have less people on the board, that's bad for you.
But honestly, it's like, why I don't understand. And again, I probably just need to play this more, but I just don't understand why anybody would bother assassinating somebody. So if you're not a cultist, you get nothing out of it. And it's a lot. I guess depending on where you are, there are some cities with lower HP, but like it's not easy to do that, and so it just seems like it's a waste. And even if you're the cultist, it's 1 point, whereas I could probably just claim a city that is more than 1 point.
Yeah, it depends if you've built for it or not. Like there's a lot of cards that have a lot of fists on them, and then that makes it easier.
Yeah,
that's why I say like, unfortunately, this is a game that is going to shine better with more experienced players, I think.
I can see that for sure.
And I think that was the case with all 3 versions of this game. I think this is the most accessible of the 3. I feel like when I played first edition, although I played it probably farther apart, I felt like every time I'm like, I'm just kind of doing stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. I played this 4 times now in the last couple of months, and I have definitely seen a little bit of the matrix about what you should do and what you can't do. I still like, and it just depends on if people are playing it straightforward or not to know who is who. Like,
So,
like if you close a gate and you're a cultist, you could throw off people, and then they're like, oh, maybe I can't win the game because you're losing the game and you're on my team.
had Dave not taken that card from me, I would have opened a gate, which I think would have thrown everybody else off, right? Because I had an open gate card. The card you took had like 3 fists on it, so like that's what kept me from opening another gate.
Well,
right?
and here's the other thing: as a dissident, you get points for either side too, right? So, and that is the biggest pro for me in this game. I think in the first versions of it, I feel like the ambiguity of the roles was even more apparent. Like it was easier to suss people out. Maybe I'm just really bad at it, but I feel like it's harder to suss out in this one. I mean, by the end, I knew like 1 turn into the game. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like how did you,
I called it out.
I did like 0 things.
Right. I called it like right away. Right. I was like, I think Jake's the only person that's on.
No, that was much later in the game than I think you're thinking it was.
I don't know how anybody knew what I was until I bumped a pink track, and that was like towards the end of the game. Because I didn't really do anything else.
Well, you closed gates.
I knew it way before you.
I did, but I also bought cards that had cultist points on them.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like, as a player that's played it more, I don't think closing a gate as a cultist is a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
Like, I had the ability to do it. You can't score it. That's a net positive for me. So especially if you kind of can figure out who the players are. So that's what I'm saying. The more plays of this, I think there's more layers to it. If everyone's just new to the game, it's going to be pretty straightforward, I think. I think it's more interesting. And unfortunately, those are the kind of games that don't get played a lot. Like Root is another one of those, like the more you play Root with the same group of people, like the better that game gets. This falls into that category, I think.
I completely agree with that. And one other thing I want to add that just was an example that we had here, and Rob has already said that he thinks it probably shines the most at 5 players, but in that note, if you're playing with people who don't play this very often, it can lead to a weird dynamic where it is 3 people on one team versus 1 person on the other effectively. And it doesn't really work out that way because it's not like you're really teaming up with the other person. But it just kind of creates a potential for a feels bad where you'd be like,
I mean, not necessarily because
I think long term, yes, you could play that to your advantage and you don't have anybody to drag you down potentially. But,
right.
But it
means if you win, you win.
Yes, that is true. But I think on a first play where people probably aren't getting really bogged down with the, hey, I'm going to lose if this person.
Yeah.
I think that's a thing that comes later. So if you're playing it once or twice and a long time between, I do feel like the way that works is probably more of a net negative unless you play it all the time.
Probably. And there's just less, and I tried to explain, after teaching this game multiple times now, I've tried to teach through some of the pitfalls. Like, the first game, people didn't realize enough that, the way you score points is by buying city cards. So 2 of us just crushed the other 2, and that was it. And then, I'm trying to think if there was another real... The other thing is just knowing how you score points as a person, which I think is not too difficult. Now, I used to think that was the hardest part of this game, and I feel like that isn't too bad now to know how you score the points.
It helped that you had printed that laminated thing that was sitting right next to Tim and I that I looked over at that a couple times. So
yeah, so you know how you score the points. The trickiest thing is ending the game by doing the reveal action if that would score you the points to win the game. That's the weirdest kind of action you can do in the game. I think being able to do that successfully is a huge deal.
I think the player aid is nice in that it tells you all the things that you can do, and the backside has icons. But sometimes it was but how do I do that icon? It says some cards have actions, but I guess it took me a little bit into this game to realize that so many of those icons on the other side can only be done if you have a card that does that. And I think, again, that's just probably something going forward, but
yeah. And I've tried to that was the other kind of pitfall, I think, because assassinate is not a normal action and close an open gate is not a normal action you can do. You have to have a card that does that. There's a couple other games that I can't think off the top of my head that are similar where there's important things you can't do unless you have the card. It's totally escaping me right now, but I have a good example somewhere in my brain.
So do the 2 tracks, does that usually...
I've never seen the chop of that track happen.
Okay.
Dave just cranked the crap out of the pink track. He's like, hey, I'm an investigator.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I probably bumped it 4 times too. So, and I think you bumped it a couple times.
Much. The way the games have ended for me so far has been player elimination, happen in 1, and points. Those were the 2 ways that I've ended the game. I've never ended the game by track.
Yeah. So, yeah, because if you have 3 people, even bouncing that track a little bit, 12 points is almost impossible for the one other person to get over, no matter how. So for me, I thought the weirdest part of this game was that there was no way Jake was going to get out of last place. It was almost impossible with us.
It doesn't matter since Jake was the only cultist. If he would have just not been last.
No, Tim would have still been ahead of me.
Well, okay, as long as you beat the dissident, the two of us would have been out of the game, right? If one of us had been last. So then you just had to beat Tim. And that means you had to control the most cities, essentially. Well, and close gates, or however else you want to score points.
Yeah, score more. But an 8-point swing on those 2 tracks was what made it almost impossible to get up over. If 3 people are bumping 1 track, it would just that gap goes it goes so fast, right? And then
I think that's why when you empty the cards on the thing, it bumps the green track by itself too. That must be a balance.
Which I did that twice.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that card that just blows up the whole stack of cards.
I mean, I had a card that lowered the red track that I never played too.
Yeah.
So
and there is that. You could try pushing that down.
Right.
That's why I said I think if I was playing with 4 players, unfortunately, maybe I just wouldn't play with the Dissident and I would just play 2 and 2. But I really like the Dissidents. Like, I think this is a 5-player game.
I think long term, again, you play with people who played it before, then the Dissident doesn't matter as much because you can find out ways to make that an advantage. And to your point, I guess, I had plenty of cards in my hand that closed gates, but for some reason I was just convinced that the 1 point I was going to get extra for it to be was like, I guess I didn't fully grok that 90% of the points you score are just for doing something to the gate as opposed to, and I think that probably makes a difference in how it goes as well.
Yeah, I mean, when that Deep One card came out, that would have been your key to victory right there. Like, that's that's a crazy card for occultists because they could just win the game with that card.
See, again, that's a when you see it type situation.
No, that's why I said,
yeah.
That's my number one pro of this game is the cards just do wild random stuff, and those Mythos cards also do. So, I don't know, it makes experiences way different. Like, you're not going to play the same game of this twice. I think
the playtime is probably a big pro in that regard with the point you just said. The fact that games are different, but you're still only devoting an hour probably.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could have re-racked this game and played it again probably.
Yeah.
Like, I would play this game twice in a row, I think. And I would say that for very few games. And I guarantee you the second game of this we played would have been better than the first game.
It would have been that many more cards Tim didn't read.
That's true. I would have turned the board for game 2.
I still wouldn't have read it.
I mean, that's a you thing, I guess.
That is a Tim thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the same thing, but I mean, unfortunately, like, that is the game. Like, knowing the cards. And I guess as you play it, you'll just know the cards better if you played it more too.
Listen, nothing is as bad as Sabika.
At least the font on this is not like terribly small.
Yeah, they're not like
and they're not like italicized.
The American mini cards or whatever with 7 lines of text on them.
With Sanskrit.
So, yeah.
Well, the problem is with that game, they're like in cursive too,
Right.
which is rough. Are we ready to hit some final thoughts? All right, final thoughts time here on the Board Boys podcast. We have a 3 boing rating scale, 0 being the worst, 3 being the best. Your favorite game ever is 4 boings. Half boings are allowed. 0 boing game of Cthulhu Dark Providence, I think, is Cthulhu just... Maybe we're just like all a dream in Cthulhu's mind. And he wakes up and, I don't know, we all go insane.
Disappear. Yeah.
We all just disappear.
I think a pretty low version of this is that Neil Gaiman is still making money because of the royalties. So I'm glad it's a different theme in that regard.
Is he a bad dude?
He's a real bad dude.
Okay.
Real bad.
The 3 boing game of Cthulhu Dark Providence is probably, I don't know, there's like a really funny South Park episode with Cthulhu in it, I think. So if they had like South Park Cthulhu Dark Providence.
V4.
Yeah, I mean, version 4 is going to be that.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Yeah. The letters are big. It just says the cards are like
it's really
action
weird.
do.
Until I got into board games, I didn't really even know who Cthulhu was. And so whenever I see like H.P. Lovecraft out in like the wild or like because it's free, right? It's open license because it's so old. He never actually copyrighted it or something.
Prior to this game right now, I didn't really understand what Cthulhu was.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was the first, like, True Detective had the King in Yellow, which is an H.P. Lovecraft thing.
Which season?
The very first season.
Oh, I watched that.
Yeah, that was very Cthulhu-esque. And speaking of, like, not good dudes, H.P. Lovecraft also not a good dude, unfortunately, which I didn't realize until, like, much later, learning who he was. But anyway, I'll go first. I really still want to love this game. I sold my original copy of this because it was worth a decent amount of money, and it went to someone in the local area, so I'm sure I could hunt down Aaron and still play with him if I wanted to. I'm happy with this one. I think I skipped the second one. I'd played the second one, and it was too vanilla for me. I really like this version. Unfortunately, it's going to get a half a boing ding because I feel like it's going to be hard to get people to play it with me. So I'm going to go 2 boings for Cthulhu Dark Providence.
I'll go next. I walked into this game knowing I probably wasn't going to love it. Something about Cthulhu stuff, it does not.
Just doesn't trip your trigger?
It does not, I'm not interested in it. So, and I'd seen you guys play Study and Enroll before, and just kind of knowing some stuff, it's just not, I don't think it's exactly my game, if that makes sense. And then, flipping all the cards over, and it was just, for me, it's a lot for my brain to just, it to handle and to deal with. So for me, at 1.5, I would say I will play it whenever you want, and maybe that will go up. I don't like this game. I don't hate this game enough to say I'll never play it with you again. I would play it anytime you want. For me, it would not be the first game I would choose. So, but if we need to get it to the table 4 more times, maybe it'll be a 2.5 for me.
It might be a good pick when there's 5 people.
I would say that would be significantly better. Like,
Tim never wants more players in games.
yes,
either,
that's true. That's true. But I could see where this would be way better. I really did not love the 3-on-1. I thought it was just a struggle. And maybe that's because we were new or whatever, or we bounced that track, which was like made it really hard to deal with.
But I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. I think being by yourself is not that bad of a thing if you know what you're doing. Probably.
Shots fired at Jake.
I mean, maybe, but yeah. I mean, we'll see on other plays. So 1.5 for me.
I can go next. Similar to Tim, I knew going in this probably wasn't going to be my main jam, but I was happy to try it, and Rob had spoken pretty favorably for it. It's just not what I look for in a board game, I think is probably the best way to describe it. I like being able to be really purposeful about what it is that I want to do, and largely be able to do the things that I want to do. So, mostly playing a multiplayer solitaire game, which is the way that Jake operates in most cases. But
this is the complete opposite.
Yeah, it really is. But there was some stuff in here that was interesting. So I think it's 1.5 for me too. I think the more I played it, potentially, the more I could see the fun interactions that exist between the cards and things of that nature. So also the 1 hour time makes it a pretty low threshold to play it again. So yep, 1.5 boings for me.
How long is Unfathomable? That's Cthulhu stuff too, right?
It's probably
3 hours,
okay.
2.5, 3.
Yeah, I would play this game 100 times over that one.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah. So
I never played it.
I haven't played that game. I have an expansion for that game I've never played, so need to get it back out.
1.5 hours just makes it really easy to play.
That's
all.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the box really says an hour. I feel like that's wild, but
We played it in an hour.
yeah.
But all of us played pretty quick, though. I would assume it's longer for most people.
I would say 90 minutes is probably, and I played a game of this that lasted 30 minutes. So it just depends on what triggers the end of the game.
I would probably go 1.5 boings as well. I didn't like the needing to read all the cards, kind of like Tim was saying. I ignored the Mythos track of cards just altogether, just because it was on the other side of the table. I just knew what I needed to do was take cities, maybe close an occasional gate or two, and bump the investigator track up. I knew that was good. At some point, it eventually ended the game and helped propel the good guys to victory.
I mean, mainly you.
Yeah, the good guy being you.
I fell 1 point short.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, the art was fine. The board was kind of boring, but yeah, the art on the cards was pretty nice. I did not like the description in the
rule book.
The rule book. Like, I was falling asleep over here, and I have to be on this podcast. But yeah,
it was long.
It was long, but yeah, it's okay. Definitely a 5-player game. I would play it again as well. I do own a copy. I actually only bought the copy because it came with Cthulhu Death May Die figures for the pre-order exclusive. So
do you have the 4-foot Cthulhu?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tight.
of course.
That thing's rad.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I would also play this multiple times in a row and increase score based on that. But yeah, 1.5 for me.
Right on. All right. That'll wrap us up for Cthulhu Dark Providence. We do like to look back 1 year in the past on the Board Boys podcast. We call it Bumper Dump. Rob's going to sing the song.
I kind of want to sing it in the Walk Like an Egyptian theme.
Can you do that?
No, I won't hurt anybody's ears with that. So I will just say, it's Bumper Dump time, baby.
All right. So 1 year ago, we played Men-Nefer. So Men-Nefer was a 8.2 for $12.50. It is still an 8.2.
It's got to be in the top. I'm going to say it's in the top 600.
It's definitely a bump. I would say top 500.
556 or 565. Sorry. So
we split the difference.
Yeah. Top 600. So I guess for you. Yeah. I still really like it. I played it a bunch since then. You just played it. Have you played it since?
I've played it again. Yeah. I really like it. If I didn't give it a 3 at the time, it's definitely a 3 now.
3 of us own this, right?
Yeah. It was a 3 for Jake and myself. You gave it 2.5. Have you played Men-Nefer?
I have not, no.
Okay.
I think I'm pretty confident it's my favorite game by him. Herman P. Malone.
Yeah, I think I'm going to probably... God,
Bitoku's sweet, man.
I know. I think it's a 2.5 or 3 for me too still, but I might give it a 3 because it might be the first Euro game that I got Bo to play that he actually liked.
I think it's the most accessible of
I completely agree.
It was crazy. We actually played it this week just because I wanted to play it again, and he's been promising to play something heavy, as we say. And he's like, what got him into it was the rule book has, for all the actions, it has a very detailed description of like historically what is about it. And he loved all that stuff. So like, and I really like the Egyptian theme, and the Egyptian theme just really shines through on it. Like, I didn't realize we were actually like mummifying the mummies before we were like putting them. It's like, there's like the mummify action and all that. So yeah, no, it was really good. And he beat me, which doesn't hurt. And like, he scored like over 70 points, which is pretty good in Men-Nefer.
I still really enjoy, similar to Castles of Tuscany, that basically what you do rescores itself. So there's a lot of incentive to just get stuff done early, and I think that's fun.
That is why it is not a 3 for me. I was trying to think of why, and it's if you get behind in that game, you have to be
get out of it.
You have to be that much better going forward to win. And so like if someone has like a bonkers first round, unless you can overcome that, you're just not gonna make it happen. And I think that's fairly hard to do, although there's usually not that big of a gap early on.
I feel like
to notice that, but
that is actually almost every board game, except you just don't know it as much as you know it in Men-Nefer, because the things are going to keep scoring. Like usually how well someone does is how well they get out the gate, right? Like setting up the infrastructure, whatever it is that they're going to do that's going to make them successful.
Yeah, maybe it's just more apparent.
It's so apparent because you see it and I scored that again and I scored even better. So I think it just makes you more aware of the consequences of how the early game starts. But I dig it.
Anyway, yeah, it was awesome. I think that's something that I could get Amy to play too. Like, I think the 3 of us will try it. We literally just started playing the game, and I'm like, he's like, I want to build the pyramid. I'm like, okay, here's what you do. And then by the halfway through the game, he didn't need to ask me anything. He was just doing it.
Yeah, it is absolutely, you can just throw it on the table and start playing. There's not really much of a teach to it all.
Yeah, nothing you're going to do at the very beginning is going to wreck you too hard.
And even if, like, whatever you do at the beginning, you just lean into that. It doesn't even matter what it is because they all score pretty well. So whatever you're doing, just pick it and go. Yeah.
Well, I think this game may be the best I can think of any game to play it that way, in the fact that your first actions are chosen for you. Like, you get the tile, it gives you that action. Like, you have the decision made for you what the things you're going to do for the first 3 things are. I mean, not necessarily the first 3 things, because you can...
Yeah, you only have one of 3 choices for your very first action.
Yes, which are pre-selected for you. Yeah, correct. So, and then you just, hey, I'm going to do this, and then you do what it's on there, so...
I found Windmill Valley had the same thing for when I taught Claudia, and that, like, you know, unless you're going to go do something, you turn it once, and that's the action you go do. So it felt very similar, and she had... both of those games, she had a really easy time picking up and playing for someone that does not play board games at all. So she likes both of them. David, you played Bitoku or Sabika or Covenant? Yeah.
No, I don't think I played any of those.
Okay. They're all really good. This one's really good. So if you ever see it down or whatever, I'd highly suggest it. So if you want to give us feedback, you can do so at our Board Game Geek Guild. You can find that through the website. Ryan says, we enjoyed this one. It's a solid midweight Euro. So many pieces for setup, though, but otherwise, good game, 2 boings. Rob, did Rob print you did you print your own insert board?
I did my own insert board.
Okay. Rob printed me an insert, which helped out significantly. Otherwise, there's 1,000 wood pieces on your board. So Jeremy Dobler says it's just like Bitoku. Seriously, though, it's the same designer and shares a lot of the same mechanisms, but the Egyptian theme. We haven't tabled it recently, but only because we'd recently played Bitoku. Maybe it's time to remedy that. He did not give us any boings. Christopher Boat says he likes most of the designer's games. It felt super intuitive. Despite being a heavier game, it moves at a great pace and satisfies my combo wombo needs. Easily 3.5 boings. There you go, Chris Boat.
Ooh.
Yeah. I played the first game with him.
That's like he's tickling the 4 boing right there.
I know. So that's all the feedback.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of the Board Boys Podcast, Season 18, Episode 8, Cthulhu, Dark Providence by CMON Games. Go to theboardboys.com for all the cool links out there. You can go to our Discord and play some BGA games with us or just chat us up. You can also go to our Patreon link that's on the page, or I just kind of recently updated it. You should be able to search and find any games we've ever talked about on the website. All the seasons should all nicely show up the things. So I even updated our bios a little bit recently. So
I just realized I did not respond to that message.
If you guys want like new pictures or something, I can do that too. So like, got a slight refresh out of my sick web design skills that are not sick at all. You can give us 5 stars, iTunes or Spotify reviews. That just gets out the boing message farther. I'd like to thank our Patreon members now. VJ from Board Game Gumbo, Timothy Crisco, Shifty Teeth, Jordan Smith, Andre Bosch, Braden Dowdy, Rob Cooper, Richard Lane, Matt Kelly, Portland Gamecraft, Terry Ward, Mark D. IV, and Jeremy Thoman. Thanks again, everybody. Until next time, we hope you like board games.
Boing, boing, boing.
See ya.